Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. You look fantastic. And I'm not saying that to be saying it. There's a bunch of really beautiful people here, including that man in there in the gray jacket. I've seen Jamie in like sweatpants and jean jackets, and we've been for dinner in Vancouver, and I saw him tonight, and I was like, whoa, hey, they signed you for James Bond? Anyways, my name is Joshua Spence. I'm going to be hosting the evening and I guess doing like a poem, in a few minutes. I should know. Yes, I am doing a poem in a few minutes here. But first, I just wanted to say how fantastic it is to have all of you here. This is something that has become very close to my heart, light and film. This is something that I remember hearing about it about maybe like 9 months ago. I remember kind of hearing about it, and it was a cool idea. I remember hearing it, and I was like, this is sweet, and just to kind of see it grow and mature, and now that it's here, now that we're here, it's really exciting to be part of something that I think is absolutely going to fundamentally change the spiritual landscape of Vancouver, and specifically the spiritual landscape of the film industry of Vancouver. One thing that I've noticed, I live in Vancouver, and I've been lucky enough to meet a few people who were on TV shows that I loved. I'm a huge fan of Battlestar Galactica, massive fan of Battlestar Galactica, and so I've met a few of the actors from that show, and it's like Christmas morning for me. But when I meet these people, and when I talk to people who are in the film industry, and I have friends who act and all this stuff, and it's really evident to me, and it becomes really obvious very quickly that the film industry, the way that it is spiritually, it's this hodgepodge, this buffet, this spiritual buffet, where everyone is picking the items that are bad for you, and they're stacking their plates. It's like going to a cheap Chinese food, restaurant, and you're just piling it high with spring rolls and noodles, and you're like, this sounds great. It seems fantastic. Sweet and sour pork? Yeah, thank you, God. Spring rolls, praise the Lord. And then you consume it, and you wind up getting sick. And I think that's actually a pretty good metaphor for the spiritual climate in Vancouver, especially in the film industries. You have everyone who they're lost. They really are. And so to see something like this, to see this movement, this light and film movement, just being born out of the knowledge that there is a God who loves us and who sent his son to save us, and there are people who need to be saved, knowing that this is not just something, we're not just creating this so we can pat ourselves on the back and sit around in coffee shops and say, man, we're spiritual. We're creating this because we know that there is a need. We understand there's a need. We recognize there's a need, and we know that there's an answer. There's a proven answer. There's a real human answer. And his name is Jesus. And so we're creating this because we believe that Jesus has the power to change the film industry. And we know that if we change the lives of the people in the film industry, we'll change the content. We'll actually change what happens, because it all starts with people. The Empire State Building wasn't constructed because of ideas, and Rome wasn't built on concepts. It was built on the backs of the people of Rome. It was built on the backs of construction workers. The Empire State Building was, and Rome, I guess. But anyways, the people are what change things. And so changing people, light and film is all about changing people by the power and the blood and the name of Jesus Christ. And that's something that gets me pumped. And that is something that gets me so excited. And so tonight, I'm so thankful that you guys are here. I'm so thankful that there are other people who recognize and want to be a part of the answer. So tonight we have some fantastic speakers. We have Mark Clark from the Village Church coming up to speak tonight. You can clap. It's not. We have Brian Egert, the director, I believe, of Mission Canada. That's right, yeah. We have Jamie and Mandy Rausch, the parents of this movement, kind of, so to speak. Yeah. Jesse Hutch, yeah, Jesse. He's just so amazing, you know what I mean? Jesse's coming up as well. There he is. I was looking for him. There you are. Jesse's coming up tonight too. And we have me. It's time. So I wrote this. And I hope you like it. Tell me what you see. I want you to look hard at the lives of those who entertain us, and tell me what you see. This isn't a test, it's a question. And you wouldn't be the first to look away. Many have, afraid that if they stare too long into the bright lights, they'll go blind. And maybe that's the case. But for now, tell me what you see. Maybe you see a sick, slithering tapeworm weaving and writhing its way through the arteries of humanity, moving closer to the heart, feeding on the innocence and moral fiber of our once Christian society while we suffer silently. But I think it's time that we look again. I'm looking hard. Let me tell you what I see. I see dead people, spiritually lifeless and limp, corpses floating on the airwaves, their broken souls drifting through the decadence of that life. I see human beings served up like hot meals on silver platters, offered up as sacrifices to the vices that delight us, then discarded like cigarette butts and latex gloves, while we're told who to hate and who to love. Let me tell you what I see. Because from where I'm standing, the picture is painting itself. And it's a very vivid image of a vicious beast, no longer in its infancy. It's a monster that's matured, and it's leaping off the canvas into the private lives of the ones we idolize. And we stand paralyzed and terrified with our hands tied behind our back, afraid that if we speak out, it'll sound less like love and more like an attack. And therein lies the separation between those who have been saved and those in need of a Savior. But our God isn't too big on separation. So he's equipping a generation with the ministry of reconciliation. You're being called out. You're ready. Our sins are gone, cast skipping like a stone across an infinite pond into the great beyond, into the everlasting abyss. So we'd stand amidst this plan of his and ask, how do I handle this? Come and add your light to ours. You've been called as ambassadors, the vehicles of hope sent to drive out the darkness, to bring the fire of freedom to the sparkless, to introduce Lazarus to Jesus. Let's tell them what we see. Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Brian Egert.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm from the Toronto GTA area, and I just say thank you for the warm weather. There was a snow squall for the Americans. That's actually something that came from the U.S. and landed in Buffalo and sent 7 feet of snow in Buffalo. We're just glad it's in Buffalo and not here. Well, I'm glad to be here today. And as the director of Mission Canada, about 6 or 7 years ago, by the way, Josh, that was fantastic. Can we just hear it up for him again? That was unbelievable. 6 or 7 years ago, our fellowship of churches decided to do something, and that was to actually very deliberately look at Canada, not as a mission sending field, but as a mission field. We actually began to look at it and to say, where are those places where we have swaths of people that don't know Jesus? And how do we actually begin to not just plant churches like we're used to doing? How do we plant people? Plant people into strategic places that don't have high percentages of the gospel. And so whether or not it's our urban centers or whether it's Quebec and Francophone Canada with 8 million people that are outside of the gospel, do you know that you have to line up 200 people in Quebec before you hit your first Christian? Or whether that's our Aboriginal communities with 1.5 million Aboriginals, or whether that's even looking at our new Canadians, and do you realize that every 2 minutes, a new Canadian sets onto our shores from another place in this world? Every 2 minutes, we have another family, another person coming to our shores, and many of them are outside of faith. What do we do about that? Do we just shrug our shoulders and say, well, I guess it's all changing? Or do we actually begin to think, not just as Christians walking through this life, but we actually begin to get the heart of what Jesus said is that we're on search and rescue. He came to seek and he came to save. So we began to look at our nation like we love our nation. We said, Lord, where are the people that need you more than all? So when Jamie and Mandy Roush came to us and said, I think I got this crazy idea. I got this idea that I think we could actually reach into a segment of our population that are without faith. And he began to tell me about his heart, his dream. He began to share with me and our team about the idea that people are lost, really lost. And they don't even know that they're lost. And a dream was begun. You know where it started? It started with Mike Pennington, Jamie Rao, and myself sitting at Red Robin. Do you think God could speak to you at Red Robin? I think I had the teriyaki chicken, by the way, just in case. And God birthed something deep in Jamie's heart long before we had that meeting. As we began to hear the dream and we began to see the opportunity, we said, not only are we going to partner with you, we believe that God's in this, and we want to actually help propel you to see a mission field raised up into our areas of our country that don't know Christ. So all of a sudden, the miracle began, and people began to come on board, and people began to share their heart. People began to share their finances. People began to share their covering. People began to share, leaders began to say, yeah, we're in. And that's why we're here tonight. So let me just tell you this, from a fellowship of churches of over 1,154 across the country, we believe in Jamie and Mandy. Not only believe in them, but we support them. We cover them. We love them. And we want to see literally dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people. How many know that when you got a big dream, we need a big God for a big dream? So thanks for coming tonight. Mission Canada really is about that. We hit the gaps, those places in Canadian culture where even though churches are doing their thing and even though regions are planning and strategizing, Mission Canada comes along and says, where's the gap? Where are the places between churches and between ministries that aren't really touching? And so when we saw the opportunity, so I just want to tell you about a couple other quick stories. Jamie and Mandy are touching the film industry in Vancouver. We just had our first guy come and he said, you know what? We'll work alongside of you in downtown Montreal. Somebody else came to us and said, I'll go to a university campus that has 35,000 people, many of them without Christ. You know, if you line up all the Christians in most of our universities across Canada, you still would only get a handful of Christians. I'll give you an example. The University of Toronto is 54,000 people. That's bigger than some cities. So we have a job to do in our nation. We believe that as we link arms with people like Jamie and Mandy, we believe that the gospel can be advanced into places and crevices that really it'd be light in film. And the gospel of Jesus Christ would transform lives. So I'm just here to have a great time with you all. But I want you to know there's an entire fellowship of churches that love God and love people, and we want to see transformation come to our nation. Are you with me on that? You want to see transformation come to your nation? One last story. I travel quite a bit. And I've got an opportunity now to go pretty well from Newfoundland all the way to Victoria, Vancouver Island. I've gone north, I've gone south, I've gone east, I've gone west. We have the best nation in the world. Sorry, all you Americans. We got the best nation in the world. That was a golf clap. That was kind of one of those golf claps. We have the best nation in the world. When the Americans sing their anthem, they sing bombs bursting in air. They sing about all kinds of stuff. You know what we sing in our anthem? God keep our land glorious and free. It's written right into our song. It's written right into the heart of our anthem that we believe that God has purposes for this country. I'm so glad I'm Canadian. Not in an arrogant sense. You know us Canadians, we apologize just when we bump into somebody in the line at the grocery store. Say, I'm sorry about that. Let me tell you this. I've stopped apologizing for being bold for my faith in Jesus Christ in this nation, because my heart and my goal is that we would see a transformation in this nation like never before. That people would come from every tribe and every nation, and we'd have a Revelation 5:9 day. From every tribe and every nation, from every language group, we'd see them around the throne of God. Why does God love Canadians? Because he wants more Canadians around his throne worshiping him. Here's the deal, ready? He sent the nations to us, and they're here. In every part of your life, the nations are here. You have to go to the nations. Yeah, I don't want to stop going to the nations, but the nations are here, and he's called us to touch the world from our own backyard.
Thank you, Brian, so much for speaking. I'm really happy that we have people from outside of Vancouver invested in change in Vancouver. So thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for just being so willing to be a part of this and to help this grow. And I want to move on to our next guest here. We have a man coming up to share tonight. He is a fantastic speaker. He's the pastor of the Village Church, and he's also another, surprise, surprise, great-looking man. His name is Mark Clark, and he's going to be coming up to share.
All right, really good to be asked to come and share for a few minutes with you guys tonight. So I just took a couple notes, so I just want to make sure I hit what I want to hit here, because I think here's the passion, the way I understand it. Here's the passion in this room: to transform culture. And I just want that, we got to let that sink in for a second. The gospel does something bigger than your individual life. So you get changed by Jesus, and then you go unto what? Unto something. I need to do something with this changed heart, this changed life, this changed practice. And then your heart begins to hopefully just pump for the life change and transformation of the people. Not only the people, the cities and the institutions that surround you. And that's what this is, because that's how nations get changed. We just sang our national anthem. How are you going to change a nation? How are you going to change a nation? You have to change the parts of the nation that have influence on how people think, on what people do, how they live their life. So the Apostle Paul, if you follow his church planting strategy, here's what he did. You open up your New Testament and you see books like Romans and Philippians and Thessalonians, and what's he doing? He's going to cities that have influence, because culture flows downstream. So what happens is you have institutions and people and parts of cities and certain cities that create culture, and then certain people and places and cities that consume culture. So in Canada, the three most influential cities in our country, arguably, are Vancouver. What would you say? Toronto, and what else? Montreal. Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal. So here's the Apostle Paul in the book of Acts. Acts 17, verse 16 says this. Now, when Paul was waiting for them at Athens, his spirit was provoked within him as he saw the city was full of idols. Now, here's the image. First off, he doesn't walk around like we do. We go down to Vancouver and I see people's Instagram, at least in my church, I see their Instagram accounts, man. It's like, look at beautiful Vancouver. Look at this city. Look at the glass. Look at this beautiful, it's water, it's boats, it's beautiful people. Look at the people. And they love the people and they love the glass and they love the water and they hashtag about it. And here's Paul in Athens. And he doesn't get distracted by the glamour and the lights and the boats and the thing. He goes, my heart was provoked within me. I got angry because I saw the idols. I saw people on the outside. I saw a city that was glamorous, but the inside provoked my spirit because I saw that these people were worshiping idols. And so my heart broke for them. That's what this room is doing about an industry of glamour. Athens was the cultural hub of the ancient world. So in Canada, we have Vancouver, we have Toronto, we have Montreal. These are the three cities that create culture in our country. And then everybody else consumes what's created in those cities. All right, no one looks to Winnipeg and goes, what are people wearing there? I want to wear that. No one does that. No one looks to Regina and goes, hey, show me the fashions. The Saskatoons, all right, Newfoundland, socks with sandals are actually coming back. But this isn't what we do, because we look to the cities that create culture and then we say, hey, what's going on there? And then we all consume it. In the same way, the film industry is in Athens, man. The film industry is a cultural shaper. It creates culture that the rest of us consume, that the rest of us look to and go, man, what is the film industry doing? I'd like to do that. I want to wear what they wear. I want to do what they do. I want to think how they think. I want to talk how they talk, which is one of the problems, right? People often look at me and they'll say, I have three little girls, and they'll say, hey, you're brainwashing your kids. I grew up non-Christian family, so they still give me pressure about stuff. And they say, you're brainwashing your kids when you tell them about Jesus. You're brainwashing your kids when you read them the Bible every night. You're brainwashing them. And my response to that is always the same. You're darn right I am. Because if I don't, you will. And if I don't, Rihanna will. All right? Beyonce will. I got 3 girls. All right, do I want my girls, when they get married and have babies, feel like the only time they can get power and influence is if they strip naked on a chair and dance for men in power? No. So what I'm going to do is, you're trying to brainwash my kids with every movie they see, with every TV show that they watch, with every billboard that they walk past. It's brainwashing. I go around my kids, they're going to La Senza. They're not going there. I'm walking past La Senza, and there's big posters, and the girls half naked, and I have to guard their eyes, man. I'm like, dude, don't look at that. I just want to go live in Abbotsford, where all the girls have denim from here to here. And it's like, yes, that's how true women are. Do not... all right. Dude, I don't want my kids looking at Rihanna. I don't want my kids thinking of Beyonce, that's a way to define their life. And so the film industry is going to define a lot. People are going to consume what comes out of it. That's why we need to change it. That's the heart. That's the mission here. That's why we need to change it. Paul says in Philippians chapter 2, which is light and film is a beautiful, because he says we are lights in the world. Now, one word changes everything. He didn't say, and the title of this is not lights of film, light of film, light of the world, because that's what Christians tend to do. They go, man, we're lights of the world. We'll just act a particular way. We'll think a particular way. The world will look in on us and go, hey, I want to do that. And we're just kind of the moral arbiters. We're symbols. He doesn't say that. That's easy. Because then we just create subcultures, right? And we say, look at us, look at us. What he said is you're supposed to be lights in it, in it. Go to the places where culture is created and transform those places. Be lights in the world. My whole story is I came out of a family who was so unchurched and so non-Christian that my older brother, his name is Matthew, and my father said we will only spell his name with one T as not to be biblical. And then 4 years later, named me Mark. Just let that sink in for a second. This is how much this man knew nothing of the Bible. He have another son, is Luke. I think Luke's good. This guy knew nothing. That's my upbringing, all right? Till I was 17 years old, and I was sitting in woodworking class, and listen to this. Another guy's name was Chris, he walked into my life, in that classroom, journeyed alongside of me, took my mind and started to preach the kingdom of God into my heart. He came to my life, though. This wasn't light of the world stuff. This was light in the world. This was coming into my life. And I like to think if Jesus was walking the face of the earth today, he would make movies. And here's why. What did he do walking around the first century? He told stories. And what did those stories do? The whole point of those stories was to take people and the way that they thought, and they had this furniture, and it was all shuffled. It was all, I think this about the kingdom. I think this about heaven. I think this about salvation. I think this about life. I think this about marriage. I think this about sex. I think this about ethics. And he told stories that blew up their whole paradigm of how they thought and how they lived and he reshuffled it. And he said, now I just told you a story. And stories aren't an end in themselves. The story's supposed to change you. The story is supposed to take your heart and grip it. When I tell a story about two sons, and one son went off, and the other son's religious, and there's a father, and he's got a broken heart. When I tell that story, I'm not just telling you, I'm not just making a film for you or a TV show for you, or I'm telling a story that's supposed to change the way you live your life, it's supposed to reshuffle everything for you. This is the power of what the vision of this room is. To get into the lives of people, influencers, to reshuffle the furniture so they rethink their life. When I thought about, I was doing young adult ministry, and God gave me a vision to plant a church that reached people so we could create transformation across our country. And the vision that he gave, the vision of this room, is very similar to it. And it talked about Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, seeing young men and women, and I'll tell you why young in a second, but you remember a few years ago when our city went on a riot and kind of burned the place down because of a hockey game? All right. What was that? If you get into what that was, there was a couple things happening. First off, and I'm not kidding about this, when idols die, people go crazy. And I think that was partly what was going on. But you got to get in deeper, and you got to go, what was actually happening? Who burned the city? Who threw rocks? Young men with no vision. Addicted to porn, living at their mommy's house, don't know how to treat a woman, don't know how to get a job. My hockey team just lost. Let me throw some rocks through stuff. Because I got a lot of energy and no one to die for. So I wanted to plant a church to reach these absolute morons and turn them into church planters before they completely shipwreck their life. That's what this is. The people that this ministry is going to reach are a disaster. Read the stats about divorce rates. The people who fill this industry are hurting. They're in pain. And if you can get, they're addicted to idols. Paul's in Athens. He's provoked about the idols of the city. And he wants to take the people and go, man, I want to do something with you. I want to actually change you. I want to see your life actually change. And in this industry, that's exactly who you're going after. I'll leave you with the image of something I read about Robin Williams. My buddy actually leads a church in Vancouver, pretty famous church. And he said that the pastor he was talking to in this church, that very often when Robin Williams was in Vancouver shooting a film, he would go to the front of his church and just weep. The whole time, the whole service. And before the church service ended, he'd get up and leave. This industry is full of people who don't know Jesus, who are in pain, and need people to tell them about the love of God that can transform them, confront their idols, change their life, give them hope, so that they in turn can change and transform other people through this means. This is Athens. How do you change Athens? You go after the idols and you give them Jesus. Maybe we can just stand, and I'd like to just pray. Father, there will be moments of doubt. Man, just seeing the people in this room right now, the support, the love for the vision that Jamie has, bless it. Light him on fire. Help him to be encouraged. Protect him from the discouragement. There will be moments of, is this worth it? Is this worth it? Is this worth it? And when he thinks those things, give him the picture of one of the most famous faces, a clown that gave people joy, who inside was a wreck and took his own life, and remind him that it's worth it. That what's in front of him is an opportunity to see transformation of a country, of an industry, to tell better stories, stories that reshape our hearts and minds, to love the God of the universe, to have people in this industry, the most influential industry on the planet, where one man said, let other people write the laws of a country. I want to write its songs, because that's how you get the hearts of people. This industry will transform. I pray a blessing on it, that we would see people meet Jesus. In his great name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thanks for letting me speak, Jamie.
One more time, give it up for Pastor Mark. Yeah, guys, this is real. What we're doing here is real. What's happening is real, and I just want to encourage you guys and remind you guys that tonight, through all the speakers, through everything that happens, if you feel like this is something that you want to be a part of, we have a station in the back where you can donate your money, because what we're doing tonight is we're raising awareness. We're trying to, as well as raise awareness, I also want to let you know that we're trying to support Jamie and Mandy financially so that they are free to make this project their life. And so if you feel called, if this stirs you up, please don't hesitate to give. And I'm not asking you to sign away your life savings here. I'm asking you to donate to something that is worthwhile, to two people that are worthwhile, to two people that have had the courage to step out in faith. Because so many of us feel that call at times. We feel that call that God is calling us. I want you to do something. And there have been times where I've walked away from it. I've been like, I feel it. I know that you're calling me, God, but I just feel like the risk is just too big for me right now. And so we walk away. We rationalize a way out of it. But these wonderful people have not even tried to rationalize a way out of it. They're walking in obedience. They are stepping out in faith, and they're taking the risk, believing that God will provide. And God provides oftentimes, many times, through the people in a church, through the people in a community. And so I would encourage you guys, if this resonates with you, if this hits home, please don't hesitate to contribute. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mandy Roush and Jamie Roush. Am I saying the name right? Rao? I'm saying it wrong. Mandy and Jamie Rao.
Hi. We are so overwhelmed with gratitude for everybody who is here and the amazing help that we've had and the amazing support. I don't even want to start naming people because I'll probably forget somebody, but there's been people reaching out. There's friends from Grand Prairie that have supported, like bought food for this event, and there's just people from all over that have really helped us, and amazing interns that have come and given their time. And I don't think Tish is in the room right now. She did the food. When she comes, there she is, Tish, in the back. I caught you. So yeah, if you can just thank her for that, that's really amazing. Yeah, we've like the support and the love from everybody. We cannot not do this alone, and we're just very, very thankful and grateful.
Give a hand for my lovely wife. Thank you. I've done this a lot with individuals. There's lots of individuals here who have heard me say what I'm going to say again today. But I do have notes this time because I want to make sure I keep on track because I like the spider web. I want to say thank you, Mark, for talking about Robin Williams, because I think it was you, Jesse, and you, Dave, when I found out that Robin Williams died. I think I went to you guys because it broke my heart, because he's been in church. So I just thought, thank you, Mark, for talking about that. That was just, I forgot. I think about Robin, and I bring it up often about his suicide. But there's people in this industry, Jesse know, Adrian that that commit suicide every month in this industry. And you'll never hear their name, but you'll hear Robin's name. So it goes beyond. I know the statistic is like almost 400 famous people within the entertainment industry that have killed themselves in the last 20 years. So anyways, what I want to do is, first thing that I need to get out straight is that this sounds really heavy, what we're saying here, and I want you all to know that we support the film industry and the entertainment industry 150%. We are not here to kick it down. We're not here to kick it in the stomach and make it sound like this is an awful thing, because it is a powerful thing and it is an amazing thing. And it's something that I love, something that Jesse loves, Adrian, Jamie. We love this industry. That's why we're here. So, quickly, I am going to just explain how this all happened real quick. yeah, thank you for our special guest for coming. Adrian flew in from L.A. He's a Hollywood stunt actor. Lives in L.A. in between Vancouver and L.A. and sometimes Montana and sometimes Hawaii. You've seen him in films that you never know that you'd ever seen him in, like the Blue Beast in X-Men. So I just want to thank all the volunteers, our partners that are here with us, Tish for the food. A little bit of our history. Back in 2000 to 2002, I went to Bible college. I started my own production company in 1994 at the age of 14. When I lived in a small town, there was nothing going on, so I said, let's just create something because there's nothing going on. That's what I want to do, so I'll just make it happen. So I did that. Went to Bible college in 2000, 2002, and I went into the corporate film industry world in about 2005, and I did that till 2008 with the writer's strike. And then as the writer's strike came, that was a good opportunity for me to quit doing the film industry full time and take care of my newborn son, my first child, one of 4 now. So I got 4 kids under the age of 6. Haven't slept in 6 years. And then this ministry came up one day. There was a tug on my heart for about a year and a half saying full-time ministry, and I didn't have a clue what it was. I just knew that I was being called to the full-time ministry, but I didn't know. And the Lord said to me to work on my character over competence because I could go ahead and do whatever I want, but at the end of the day, God doesn't, it's about my character, not what I can actually do for him. Like Peter at the Mount of Transfers, I can't even say the word. You all know the part I'm talking about. So I did that. I dedicated to that. I went hard to that. I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do that. Me and you, let's work on some things behind closed doors. Because behind closed doors, it was a mess. And then that got better and really better and really better to the point where I was broken, to the point where one wonderful night, September 18th of 2013, I was sitting down with a very dear friend of mine, Mike Pennington, and I said, I feel like God's telling me to quit my job to go into the full-time ministry. And he's like, okay, well, what is it? I'm like, I don't know. But I think I need to quit my job. I feel that, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any logic for me just to get up and quit. And he's like, well, what do you think it could be? And I'm like, well, it could be, maybe I'm supposed to make a movie. I can do that. So we started talking about that, and as Mike has done a couple commercials before in Vancouver, some Huggies commercials. Not him wearing Huggies, his kids. And it was fantastic because he had a perspective because he was there. He was there on the day. He saw these people. He saw the lifestyle for a week or so there. And it tugged on his heart. He was seeing it. And he planted a church in Vancouver, and one of their hearts was for the film ministry. So he got it. And so as we're sitting there talking, he's like, so you've gone to Bible college. All your friends are pastors. You've been in the film industry. Where's the connection here? And then he just said, you know what? I think I know what it is. He goes, I know for a fact there isn't a chaplain in the film industry. And it was like the heavens literally opened up. And we started talking about the people of the film industry because it was easy to go make a movie and be grumpy on set because you're stressed out, make something awesome, send it out and change the world, and not deal with people. But then God says, no. That's what this is all about. This is about the people. So there we are. Okay, amazing. Here's the idea. Okay, Lord, I feel this. I tell my wife. And she's like, that's amazing. And I was like, what? You're not supposed to think this is amazing. Like, how am I going to feed my kids? And so October first comes around, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna quit my job. And so I say to my wife, I'm like, Mandy, tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's Monday. I'm gonna give my notice. And I was hoping that she would say, are you crazy? And she turned around and said, yeah, go for it. Because I asked her, am I going to do it? She said, yep. I'm like, great. So quit my job on the Monday. Work did not like that. And then Tuesday rolls around. I called out Mike Pennington. I said, hey, man, it's been about 2 weeks. You said you're going to make some phone calls for me. I kind of quit my job. And so then he ended up calling Brian that day on a Tuesday and said, hey, I'm Mike, and I'm calling on behalf of Jamie. This is where his heart's at. This is what he's feeling. And Brian gets excited and says, you realize that we've been praying for someone for the Vancouver film industry, and you're telling me that you're calling me to say that Jamie is here, ready to go for the film industry. And Mike's like, yep, he is. He goes, I have to meet you. I'm going to be in Vancouver this weekend. I have to meet you guys. I don't have any time to meet you, but I can squeeze you in before I take my flight. So we met at Red Robin's on the following Sunday, and he explained what Mission Canada was. I explained my heart. His first question to me was, what does your wife think? And I said, 150% on board. She told me to quit my job. You got to realize that I'm a creative guy, and I've always got some movie idea or some book idea, and she's always got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Because what's this going to do for the family, right? Where are we going to be left behind? So this was huge that she would just say, yep, this is the peace of God saturated her. So we met, we moved forward, handed my stuff in that week, and within Mission Canada, by the end of that week, they said, okay, we're ready to move forward on this. We approve you, not approve you. I think they call it approval in principle. And we'll move forward. Let's see what the district says. And then within a month, the district was okay with it. And by January of 2014 of this year, we were official Mission Canada workers to the film industry. So that is our story, briefly, of how we got here. And so here we are. What do we do now? What's the vision? So we got a people, we have an industry, we have a country, we have a call, but what do we do? So I'm going to explain briefly what the plan is actually going to be so that you understand what it is. So the first thing is that we are here to serve, counsel, life coach, and love. Above all things, love the entertainment industry and the people of this country and beyond. I've got people from the States, all over the States, that are social media messaging me, calling me, saying, I want to do what you're doing. How do I be a part of this? And I'm going, I don't know. Like, do you have an industry? I don't know, right? You know, like, to know that a year ago, there was 3 of us kind of involved in this, and now there's over 100 people. I mean, if you are here today, and you are either serving in this ministry or are a partner in any sense, raise your hand. That's a majority. That's a lot of this room. Where a year ago, it was just 3 of us. The second thing that we're here to do is we are here to serve and act as chaplains, if you will, to the believers in the industry, to encourage, empower, equip them to be a light in this industry. Like Mark said, a light in this world. They need to know that they're not alone. I've been in an industry where you get caught up in it. You work 18-hour days, 15, 18-hour days, 22-hour days. Jesse and I did a 36-hour day once. That was our fault. You get consumed. You actually get consumed in this industry in the sense of of the culture it feeds you. And so we're here. We're here for you. We're here for Adrian, for Jesse, for Sean, for Jamie, anyone, recording artists. Right now I'm life coaching a Lebanese pop star, and her husband is a Canadian Olympic bronze medalist, 3-time, and a TV personnel. Are they actors? Are they in the film industry? No, but they're tightly connected, and they play such a vital role within, like what Mark said, idols, people. So that's what we're here. We're here for them. As well as we are setting up prayer networks across Canada. We've partnered with this ministry in LA called the Hollywood Prayer Network. And they literally, what they do full time is they pray for the entertainment world across the world. They'll take an airplane and they'll fly for 8 hours across Hollywood. And they'll just pray. And then what they do is they set up chapters. They say, who else wants to pray? Who else wants to be on board praying for this industry? Because they realize, like Mark said, and they've got it worldwide. They've got people who meet every month worldwide, praying every month for the entertainment world. And so we're going to do the same thing. And I called them up. I said, hey, listen, you've only got 3 chapters in Canada, and 2 of them, you can't even contact them. So are they even doing anything? I don't think so, she said. I said, okay, here's the deal. I'll start a prayer network, and I'm going to call it the Hollywood North Prayer Network. I'll take that over for you. And we're going to pray monthly for this industry. We're talking about possibly establishing a divorce support group for the industry people. There's a 98% divorce rate within the film industry across Canada. And as much as divorce is bad, it is actually the byproduct of divorce that makes it even worse. I know that Jesse and I know a guy, well, Jesse knows a guy, that killed himself because he couldn't handle losing his 12-year-old son because of a divorce. I know you're saying it doesn't make sense because he's lost him forever, but that's how much the pain was. It's a real issue, the divorce rate. It's not something that's to be looked upon lightly. I know Christian guys that I've met in churches call me up. I said, hey man, I've been trying to call you for like 2 years. They call me up later. How you doing? Jamie, I got so many demons in my closet. I got so many demons, I don't even know where to start to tell you. All right, well, let's get together and let's have a cup of coffee. I can't. I'm in Montreal. I'm hiding from the law. I'm like, what do you mean you're hiding from the law? Well, I'm divorced. I'm bankrupt. I've lost 2 trailers full of gear. And I beat up a massage parlor lady and raped her. All because he went through a divorce. So it's more of an issue than just saying, it's just divorce, it's just natural. It's something that is common. We all know 50% divorce rate. It's getting better, or not better, I mean worse, higher. So it's serious stuff. Now the fifth thing that we're going to do, and this one is huge, and I'm going to have Jesse come up and talk a bit into regards of someone who's actively in the film industry right now, dealing with a lot of this stuff with the people around. And but the fifth thing that we're doing is we're planting, and we're going to create an underground gathering for industry people. I'm going to tell you a story. I got a good friend here from Seattle. His name's Michael. He's just over here. He attends City Church in Seattle. You guys might know Pastor Judah Smith. And their story goes like this. Well, 2.5 years ago, 6 guys got together in LA. The guy who started this Bible study is he's a pretty well-known, famous TV personnel. His name is Jason Kennedy. He's with the E Network, the E Channel, and awesome Christian guy, pioneer. And he says, I'm going to have a Bible study So he gets 6 guys together, they have a Bible study, and they meet for about 6 months, 8 months, and more people are coming. He asks Judah Smith, because they're friends, hey, can you come and teach at one of our Bible studies? He says, sure, I'll come. So he comes and he teaches. He has a fantastic time, and in about 8 months in, he keeps coming back, Judah, to teach once a month, have this Bible study. There's over 100 people showing up to a house. The people of Beverly Hills were getting a little upset. There's just too many people, so they had to move it. So they decided to meet weekly, and they moved it to a hotel ballroom. The first time they met at the hotel ballroom, there was 250 people that showed up. Now I want to remind you that most of these people are entertainment industry people. Not all of them, but most of them are. And organically, what they did attracted them because they found a safe place. So that was about a year. A year after that, so this last January, so almost a year ago, this last January, 750 people show up to this underground Bible study. Of which 90% of them aren't even saved or Christian. So you're telling me that 750 people, and literally 700 of them don't even know Jesus, but they keep coming back for the last 2 years, and they keep inviting more people to come back? Why is that? Because people are hungry. These are industry people that don't know. They're looking at that buffet line, like Joshua was talking about. And there's that, I'm going to go really corny on you here. They're looking at the salad, and they're like, what's that? Turns out to be really good for you. That's for you, Josh. And so now, being November, that same congregation now that meets underground, which is not meeting really underground anymore, is about 60%. This is about the numbers now. So now there's this fruit where the people are being transformed in this industry. They hired the campus pastor. It's being governed from Seattle, this church. They hired this woman in her early 30s. She's got her master's in divinity, master's in film and television, and she attracts this amazing demographic of people within LA, the gay and lesbian community, and people are being transformed drastically. And so this is the story of the LA church. They now call it LA Campus with City Church. And this is something that we are going to do. And this is why it's underground. This is how they make it underground. They make it underground in the sense of that you come if you've been invited, so it's invite only. There's no social media. There's no autographs because there's some pretty high-profile people that go. So what they've done is they created a safe place. So when I met them in May, they made it clear, almost to the point of shaking. They said, you have to create a safe place for these people to meet. Because they meet on a Wednesday. That's the other thing. They don't meet on a Sunday. And if you take anything that you can think of that is related to church, throw it out the window. That's what they do on Wednesday. There's no tradition. They literally get together. There's beverages there. They meet for an hour. They hang out, and they talk about Jesus for a half an hour. And they keep coming back, and they keep coming back, and they invite more people. So we have a wonderful relationship with Michael and some of the guys at City Church that are helping us through this process, that we're not cookie cuttering anything that they're doing. But we're definitely going to take into consideration what's going on there and how these people are reacting to what they're providing. So we are providing an outlet for guys like Jesse and Adrian and Jamie and other industry people here in this room that you can say, hey man, you should come on Wednesday and listen to this guy speak and change your life. Or what's going on? You going through divorce? Man, I can help you out. So it's just another outlet for the believers to ultimately see fruit. I want to play something for you. And this, what you're going to hear, some of you have heard this, some of you haven't. I'm going to play something for you, and it's literally the heart of this ministry. And I want you to pay close attention to what you hear here.
Then the scribes and Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery. When they had set her in the midst, they said to him, "Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. What do you say, Jesus?" But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger as though he didn't hear him. So he's officially ignoring them. So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, "He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first." Then those who heard it, being convicted by their conscience, went out one by one, beginning with the oldest even to the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. Jesus has raised himself up and saw no one but the woman. He said to her, "Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you?" She says, "No one, Lord." Jesus said to her, no doubt with a smile, "Neither do I charge you with an offense. Go and sin no more." But I think Jesus, for us, exemplifies the attitude, the heart, and the spirit of an advocate. Notice, they said, "Jesus, she's caught in adultery." And they proudly declare, "We caught her in the very act." And they say, "So what do you say, Jesus?" And they quote the law accurately. "What do you say, Jesus?" And notice he says nothing, which tells me that the spirit of an advocate is slow to speak. If we're all honest, it's pretty easy to let the attitude of an accuser wiggle its way into your life. I think if we're all honest, we've had a rock or two in our hands. It's easy for us to go, "Oh, I'm not an accuser." But it's in our attitude, it's in our spirit. Accusers have levels of lostness. Have you noticed this? I've noticed it in my own life. I define levels, particularly in industries that are on the forefront of our entertainment and music. And we easily throw rocks at actors and actresses and artists. And I can't believe their lyrics. I can't believe their music. I can't believe the movie they did. Oh my God, it's so bad. I hear Christians making fun of prominent figures in entertainment and on television because we can take cheap shots at them because we think we'll never know them. But some of them are my friends, and I'm trying to pastor them and love them, and yet I hear Christians making fun of them. They need a church too. They need a pastor too. They need someone who will show them the love of Jesus too. Is our gospel big enough to welcome everybody in our church? Are we big enough for actors and actresses and artists? Are we big enough to say, "Come on, you're welcome here. This is your family. This is your home. We'll love you"? Jesus is the great leveler. Even the physical posture of Jesus preaches the message of grace to us. For Jesus' posture is down in the dirt, while the religious, pompous, arrogant leaders of the day, they stand in their arrogance with rocks in their hands. These postures even demonstrate the attitude of an accuser and the attitude of an advocate. Oh, they stand so tall and so proud, but with the words of Jesus, he levels the playing field and he says, oh, pastor, reverend, bishop, you're the same as this woman. You're no different. We don't need any more churches that are standing in their arrogance with rocks in their hands and their pockets. We need churches who are in the dirt with people that are broken and hurting and need the love of God. That's got to be the church. We run towards the messes. We run towards the broken. We run towards the hurting. We don't turn away, we run towards them. We're there to hold them and to love them and defend them and think well of them and speak well of them and believe the best. That's the spirit of our Savior. What if we had a whole church that was thousands, then became tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands in the same region, and all of us carry with us the attitude of an advocate, the attitude of compassion and mercy and grace and love towards hurting, broken, lost people. And at the end of this story, Jesus tells this sinful woman, he says, I don't come to bring you accusation. He says, now go and sin no more. Do you know why? Because she had just encountered grace and faith had erupted in her heart, and now she could finally live the life she only dreamed of. Because it's grace that sets people free from sin. Not law, not legalism, not customs, not traditions, not do's and don'ts, but the grace of God.
It was 3 a.m. and I was fast asleep in my bed. And all of a sudden I got woken up and I was like, what was that? Was that a noise? Was it the neighbors? Was there something outside? What's going on? How dare I be awoken from my precious sleep? And I wanted someone to blame, something to blame. And so I just went back to bed because there wasn't a big enough blame. A couple minutes later, I wake up again. And there's something inside me. There's something inside me that's waking me up. And I go, I don't want to wake up. I want my sleep. And there's this urge inside of me, and it says, call so-and-so right now. I find my watch, and I look at it, and I go, it's 3 a.m. I'm going to call somebody at like 3:02 in the morning. That's stupid. They're probably sleeping. I'm not. This aggravates me right now. So I go back to sleep. Again, this urge just keeps coming at me. And finally, it's like, boom. And I finally wake up and I go, fine, I'll call so-and-so, whatever. Hey man, what's going on? Nothing, just chilling at home. You just chilling at home? Yeah. What about you? Yeah, I was just watching a movie, just chilling at home. So what do you call me for? I don't know. I was just calling to see how you're doing, man. Just, we haven't chatted in like a week or something. I saw you at the store last week, but didn't get to talk. How you doing? Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm probably going to go to sleep. Okay, cool. Hang up the phone. That's it. I'm like, wow. I got stuff to do tomorrow. I want to go to bed. So I go to sleep. I wake up. Life goes on. 2 weeks later, I never hear from that guy, and I run into him again at Canadian Tire. Bro, what's going on, man? I haven't seen how's your things? Yeah, good. Things are good. He goes, hey, I wanted to tell you something. Remember you called me like 2 weeks ago? 3 in the morning? Yeah, sorry about that, man. No, that's cool. I was like, it's just, I'm a night owl. Sometimes I'm awake at 3 in the morning and I call people. He goes, no, that's fine. He goes, I want to tell you something. I'm going to be honest with you. And he pulls me into the plumbing section. Nobody's there. So I'm standing in Canadian Tire in the plumbing section. I'm like, what's up? And he gets all serious and he gets close and I'm like, you're really intense right now, buddy. And he goes, yeah. He goes, listen, when you called me, I had the phone in one hand. I had a rope in the other. And he goes, I cried out to God and I said, if no one calls me in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to kill myself. And he said, so I'm glad you called. And he left. And I'm literally standing in the aisle at Canadian Tire going, there's something bigger than me, than my issues, and how much sleep I'm getting or not getting, and whether or not I'm happy with these people or that, or They didn't make my drink properly at Tim Hortons because there was not enough candy cane to put on the top of it. And that's a moment for me where this vision comes to life, because this is what I do for a living. I work in the very business that most people have rocks in their pockets for, even me included. I'll see a movie, I hear a song, I judge people, you know, and don't get me wrong, it's important to be smart. Be aware of what's around you, what's going on, what are you seeing, what are you listening to, what are you not thinking about, what are you seeing but not really looking at, and questioning yourself. And I think one thing that happens in this business, and I'll give you a sense of what it's like. I like metaphors, and I like pie. So I guess you can perhaps, perhaps I'm going to do a metaphor with some pie. So the film business is like a piece of pie. And pie is really good, and it's fun, and there's all these different slices, and every aspect, there's political, there's creative, there's financial, there's people, there's the technical end of things. And so you can break it down and you can talk about one piece of pie, and I'm willing to do that. Or you can talk about the piece of pie as a whole. And so when you break it down and you think of the complete pie, I'm seeing all these people that make up this industry. Whether they believe in something or not, they're all in this business and they're all going to work. And as Jamie said, a lot of them work 12, 18, 22 hours a day, depending what industry or what aspect of the film you're involved in. And so what it looks like is you show up on set, and there's a minimum 150 people on a crew that are literally on the ground making this movie. So right now, if you watch television, every television series that's 1 hour long takes 8 days to film from start to finish. And that's just kind of the math. It works out that way. Hasn't changed in a long time. You got 8 days, you're going to film a 1 hour episode. And it's 150 minimum crew that are there. So from my perspective as an actor, I come and I hit this mark, and there's literally almost 150 people that I can see and hear right there watching me doing their job. And then I have to do my job and pretend like no one's there. But I love it. It's part of the challenge. While I'm standing there, I'm literally shoulder to shoulder with all these people. Hey, what's going on? Hey, man, I haven't seen you in like 3 months. You know, some people I'll see consecutively for 6 months straight, and then other people I won't see them for 3 years. I won't hear from them for 6 years. All of a sudden I run into them, I'm working on the same set. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, man, I got this. I got 5 kids. I got 2 kids. I'm divorced. And, you know, divorce is coming up a lot. Suicide has been mentioned a lot tonight. And this isn't a, oh, woe is me campaign where we try to put someone's face up here and they look sad and you go, oh, and I'm touched. This is just real life. And this is just actual events of people that are working hard, trying to do what they love. And while they're doing that, they get caught up and forget what they love. Now, why are they forgetting what they love? Because most of us, all of you included, and myself, we have this moral basis that we like to say that we live on. But we don't look at what that moral basis is a lot, or not enough. We don't question it. We don't check into it. We just kind of go with the flow. Mark likes to stay Starbuckian culture. I love that term. I don't even drink Starbucks other than the hot chocolate, which is delicious. So I do drink Starbucks. Blatantly lied to you. But we just kind of roll with it. And in this business, when you're go, a lot of these people can't even pay their bills on time because they're so busy making money. They have the money to pay the bills. They just can't actually go to a bank because banks are closed when they're at home. And a lot of the times, even me included, I was just working on a series. I slept in the very same home that I sleep in, right beside my wife, with my kids down the hall, and I didn't see them for 3 days. I come home, I go to bed, they're asleep. I wake up, I leave for work, they're asleep. And I don't see them, but I go in and I peek on them. And that's the way it is, and it does start to weigh you down. Believe it or not, you know, regardless of how strong you think you are, we need a moral basis. So where do we get that? I believe you find it in the Bible. Boom, mic drop. People are going to get mad now. What, the Bible? You don't tell me how to live. You don't tell me how to handle my finances and my wife and my children. You don't tell me how to be single. You don't tell me that I shouldn't do this and that. But here's the funny thing is the Bible doesn't tell you to do anything. The Bible lays out this playing field and says, I want you to have as much fun as possible on this field. If any of you watch sports, even if you don't, I'm sure you'll get the metaphor. Again, metaphor. Soccer field, I don't even like soccer. Catlin does, he's here. Although I've played it. You go on the soccer field, if there was no rules and there was no boundaries and there was nobody saying, hey, you know what, you can't do that. You can't just punch that guy in the face and just go on like it's cool, or if it's MMA, you can totally punch that guy in the face and it's cool, but there's rules. You know what's going on. There's things that you're thinking about. So you go, you know what, I'm actually having fun doing this. If it just went to mayhem and it turned out to be, another riot after a hockey game, eventually nobody's having fun. Eventually we're all sitting at home going, what is happening right now? What, really? So, in the entertainment world, you just get caught up in it, and you can. So how do I keep myself out of that 2% that's still married? How do I stay in that 2% zone? Because it's a 98% divorce rate. It's insane. So for me to walk around and go, oh, I'm immune to it because I know Jesus, I go to church, cool. No, I'd be a complete idiot to think that I'm immune to these things. However, the God that I serve can make me immune to those things. If I can just keep focused on this biblical moral basis of morality. Because if you don't draw lines in the sand, if you don't know what you stand for and what you believe in, they will tell you, as Mark said, the film business will tell me who I am, how I should talk to my wife, how I should treat my kids, where I should be, how I should spend my money. And that's not a good place to go. So anyway, I'm on set and I spend hours with these people, and there's one in particular gentleman who I've seen a lot over the years, and then as I said, I won't see him for years, and then all of a sudden, we're back on set, we're working together, I see him for almost 6 months straight. I'm like, dude, what's going on? He's like, I'm going through a divorce, man. I'm like, wow, really? Yeah, and how's your son taking it? Yeah, he's 11 years old. I'm like, man, my mom and dad got divorced when I was 11, so I totally know what your son's feeling right now. All right, get back to work, everybody. Okay, back, yeah, we'll talk later, man, cool. I hit my mark, I'm doing my thing, he's the camera operator, we're working. 2 hours later, standing there waiting, and it's like our conversation just picks right back up again. He's like, my son, he's lashing out and he's doing these things, and we're kind of whispering and we're kind of trying to talk because there's literally about 150 people around us, and we're in the middle of this tornado of work and awesomeness and setup and tear down and lights, and he's telling me his life story, just telling me. And the only reason he's telling me is because I've known him for so long, in this almost disconnected way, but just connected enough that he trusts me to tell me because he knows I'm not going to just go and put it on Twitter or Facebook and tell everybody, that I'm actually able to sort of speak to this man and invite him out to things like church. But what do you see when I say the word church? This is a culture thing. Every word I say, you're going to think of something, right? A pie. You either like it or you don't like it. Maybe you like cherry, blah, blah, blah. I could say any word, but when I say church, I feel like everybody has a reaction, like immediately. And most people's reaction, I think, in our culture and in our age category, is it's a hurt. I've been burned, got hurt by the church. My mom was hurt by the church. My great-grandfather was hurt by the church. There's so many people walking around being hurt, and we forgot that we're the church. We're the people that have hurt these people. But these people are still mad at the actual establishment. They don't even want to go into a church building because they've been hurt. And so we go, okay, how do we go out and actually help these people? How do we touch them? Because they don't want to go to church. But I love church. And why do I love church? And why do I want to share it with them? And what is this just some heebie-jeebie faith thing in the air that I can't see or touch? No, it's an actual, real, tangible, logical, day-to-day choice that you can actually change your life and change those around you. So, the whole, event, church plan, we need something that can reach these people and then connect them into a church eventually. But it has to be culturally relevant. It's got to be something that we can draw people in, and it can't just be an entertainment industry so that we're just putting on a song and dance and people show up and think it's cool. Yes, it's got to be, as we say, culturally relevant, but it still has to be filled with the truth, which is Jesus Christ, and the things that are in the Bible. But it can't look like the church we grew up with, because the church I grew up with pushed me and my mom and my brother out of the system because she chose to get divorced because of reasons that clearly you should get divorced for. But that's not biblical, is it? You don't get divorced, so you can't come to our church anymore. So I know what it's like to be burned by the church. And I went through that hurt, and I kind of get that. But should I live my life being connected to that hurt for the rest of my life and let the hurt control me? No. The only way you can overcome any kind of hurt is through the truth that Jesus has for you. And it's real. It's not just like, oh, read these 5 steps and you're healed. Boom, you'll be free. You'll make money. It's so much deeper than that. It goes way beyond. To be able to pick up the phone at 3 in the morning and not know why you're calling anybody, that's not my idea. I didn't even like it, okay? But when he told me that, it was like God's way of saying, hey, like, wake up. This life isn't about you. Man, there's people dying around you. You're saved. Get up and do something. And so, how do I personally work in the film business? I need to be like a wolf. I got to dress like a wolf, but I got to act like a sheep. It says in the Bible, you got to be wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove. And you guys need to do that too. And the entertainment industry, you say, yeah, but I'm not in the entertainment industry. Yes, you are in the entertainment industry. If you're in this room, it means you probably live in North America, probably live in Canada, and you probably have a phone or a television, or you read a newspaper, or you've read that mom's blog that you've never met 500 times, or you write the blog, you know? The entertainment industry is huge. And so we're all in this right now, and we all got to figure out how do we actually reach these people. And so, yes, we're creating an event that will reach those people. Jamie and Mandy are quit his job. I get that. As an actor, I pretty much lose my job all the time, and I try to get a job all the time. People are like, what's acting like? I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you. You ever go for a job interview? Yeah. You really wanted the job? Yeah. You went in, went awesome. Yeah. You didn't get it. Yeah. I do that, if I'm lucky, 100 times a year. That's in a good standing. If I can do that 100 times a year and book nothing, I'm actually in a good position to even have 100 opportunities. If I book 2 of those jobs, that puts me in the top 2% of working actors in the world. The average income for an actor yearly is $30,000 a year, and that puts you in a pretty good position. If you make $30,000 a year as an actor, you're actually in the top 20 percentile of working actors. This is just some perspective on what makes people work so hard to not even necessarily get the job or the money. There's got to be something to this storytelling thing. There's got to be something to music and to writing and to sports. There's got to be something built in the human psyche and condition that says, I want to be a part of this, and other people might be a part of it too. And yeah, there's those people that say, hey, look at me, I did this. And, you know, it's huge. I mean, just look at your Twitter page. I don't have to go any further on that one. It's a different time that we're living in, and I think God is calling us to live differently. And you can't live the way that we've been doing it. I can't do what my mom and dad did. It's not going to work. So what is this vision? You know, what is it? We got to connect with people on a real basis. We got to be able to rub shoulders with them. You got to be able to get on their level and see them eye to eye. It says in the scripture that we're supposed to be like children, and I think part of that is you got to get down. As it said in that video, you got to get down like Jesus had that posture. It was down on his knees, you know, and he was in people's eye level, not up here, because I believe in Jesus and the Bible and I read it, and everything I know is you got to live up to this. No, you take those things, ingest them in, get on the ground. This is like Navy SEAL work, man. You got to get in there and be the best that you can be at whatever you do. If you're a plumber, man, you be the best damn plumber you can be. And you do it for Jesus. I guarantee you're going to touch people. So don't think you're insignificant. Don't think that what you do has nothing to do with the entertainment industry. Don't think that what you do is not going to impact people around you through your life. I mean, I was impacted by me making a phone call to someone else, and it wasn't my idea, like I said. It was just an urge to do that. I was so impacted, like I'm still talking about that today. And that guy's still alive, and it's not because of me. It's because God said, give him a call. And I still didn't even know why I did that. So you don't know what you're really doing every day, do you? But we like to think we do. I got my schedule. I'm going to get up, get my coffee, do this, go to work, boom, I'm done, 9 to 5, we're out. No, man, you're touching people in ways that you can't imagine. So let's create an event that we can reach people. You know, you guys, you go to your jobs, you do your thing. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, there's people that you're touching and you're loving, and you can invite them out to something. And if they won't go to church because they've been hurt, maybe we can make an event that they would come out to. And slowly and surely, they'll get exposed to God and biblical principles. And then that can allow them to get connected into a church, you know? Like an actual church that looks more like a church, maybe. And see if you can make a difference, you know? So, yeah. I'm going to read your notes, Jamie. You left them up here. See if you left anything out. Yeah. Oh, you were going to use the pie metaphor. Oh, I'm just kidding. So when Jamie called and said, hey, you want to be part of this team? Yeah. You're not going to get paid for it ever. I don't care. Because God calls us each to do something individually, but then he also calls you to be a part of something. Because I don't think that you just do your 9 to 5. You don't just do the job that you're doing and go, that's it. Because society tells you that. Society says you go to school, you get a degree, and then you do this, and then you retire, and then cool, you just chill out and do whatever else you want. And your kids will help you out, and it'll all be perfect handy-dandy. It's not the way it is. God says, okay, what you doing? Boom, okay, I want you to do this. I want you to give that away. Take this. Buy that, sell this. And you're like, whoa, what? What? No, that's not comfortable. Well, you want me to wake up? What? So wake up. You know, you don't need sleep that much. Everybody, 90% of the room just got mad at me. You do not need sleep. Anyone who's had kids, you know that you can go without sleep, raise your kids, and actually do what you didn't even do when you were single. It's crazy. God's got these systems worked out. So, whatever it is you want to do to help with this vision, yes, you've been challenged financially, but that's the smallest part of it. The biggest part is we need your heart, we need your hands, we need your backs, and we need your knees. You got to be on your knees praying. You got to push with your backs against culture. You're going to have to stand up and you're going to have to say things that you think go against the grain. You know those things when your heart's pumping? And you're like, I can't believe I'm going to say this right now to my boss, or I'm going to say this to my coworker, or I'm going to call out my best friend who I've known for 20 years, and I'm going to say that is not right. You can't do that. You know, and the divorce just keeps coming up. I mean, it's wild. I have another friend who's struggling with this divorce right now, and I only use it because it's real for me. It's hard to do what God asks you to do because you aren't born with the strength to do it. He gives it to you. And he literally gives it to you when he says, do it. It'll be like, do it. And you're like, what? Like, right now, do it. Say that. And you're like, and that's what I mean. When your heart's pumping and you start sweating and you're like, I'm about to say this. This happened to me in an audition. They asked me to read for this other role. And the role meant that I would have to rape the lead girl. And they said, would you read for this role? But they didn't tell me any of that information. I said, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll go down and read it and check it out. So they say, hey, here you go. Here's the breakdown. Yeah, cool. And then he rapes the lead girl. Okay. Do I just put up the Christian blinders and go, well, rape, I'm out? Yes. But how do I handle it? What would Jesus do? Would he just bail, not talk to anybody, not do anything about it? No, this is where my heart starts pumping. I got to call my wife and I got to say, hey, honey, they want me to read for this other guy. She's all over it. She knows more about what I do than I do half the time. She goes, whoa, that's the guy that rapes the lead girl. You're not doing that. And I go, I know I'm not doing that, but I'm going to tell them I'm not doing that after I do the audition for it. So can you pray that I have the words? And I'm literally like, butthole clench. Okay? I know. I'm just being real with you because I've seen this casting director for 15 years. You know, God's had me in this and I'm working on it and I'm trying to live for the Lord in this. And all of a sudden God goes, hey, you're going to tell them why you're not going to do this role. And I'm going to what? Yeah, you're going to tell them right to their face. Not through the agents, not in some roundabout way. So I go, okay, prayer, wife's on board, boom, hang up the phone. Haven't even got to work on the lines yet. Hey, you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. I go in, do the audition. Wow, thank you so much, thank you. And this is for a movie with John Travolta in it. And I'm like, okay. Well, thank you so much for coming in, man. That was awesome. You ready for this guy? Ready for the man? Really? Yeah, thank you. Hey, I'm about to leave. I'm like, okay, maybe I can just duck out. Maybe God will just like let me walk on by. Maybe he'll just tell them. And he goes, nope, you sit down in that chair. So I sit back down in the chair. I go, Hey guys, real quick before I leave, I just want to let you know, rape exists, and it's real. And it happens on a day-to-day basis, especially in our culture, and I think it's an issue that needs to be touched on. But I said, I don't think we need to show it. Because you don't have a redemption program in this. This guy doesn't come out the other end and he gets a slap on the wrist. He kind of gets away with it. And I was like, I don't think that that's right. Feeling the air leave the room now. I'm still sweating at this point. It's the casting director sitting there, 15 years. She's been backing me up. Producers, directors from Los Angeles, camera guy, Canadian producer. Seen him for 15 years now. And I say, okay, if you're seriously considering me for this role, we're going to have to sit down. We're going to have to talk about how we're going to change the script, what we're going to pull out of this. You could hear a pin drop. Yeah, thanks for coming in. Cool, no problem. Got up, left, casting director followed me out, and she goes, hey, I was going to tell them, actually, that you're not interested in doing roles like that. But you just did it, so that was cool. And I said, yeah, as long as you're not offended or anything. I mean, this is your room. I respect your room. And she goes, no, that was great. It's great how you handle it. I walk away, literally, like, I got to get out of here before they stop me again or something. And I get outside. It's one of those moments where I'm like, I'm down in like kind of the East Hastings area. And it's crazy down there. There's all these like Asian markets and stuff. And I walk out and I'm like, yeah, praise the Lord. I'm like, oh. There's like this old Asian guy and he's like, just staring at me, and I'm like, cool. And I only say that story because, again, that was God there's this peace in me. Even though I was drenched with sweat, and it was so hard to do, and it was so nerve-wracking. And God said, look, I'll give you what you need. You just got to be willing to open your mouth, and you got to be willing to move your body. And you're not a puppet, because you got to make that initial instinct and go, I will do this for you. And when you do it, there's this peace and joy that comes with it. It's crazy. And I didn't get that job. And I feel 100% fine with that. But I know for a fact that that's the first time they've ever been told to their faces that this isn't right what you're doing. And it doesn't make me a hero. In my eyes, I go, wow, praise the Lord. That you could put me in that room, I could say it, still walk away, be respected, and not have these people look down on me. And they call me back in for another audition the next day for a different project. And the casting director's never said another word about it. Only God can do that. Because if I did it in my own strength, it would have came across like a jerk. You know, I would have been kicked out of the building. Who knows? My career would be done. I don't know. Maybe. It's God's career, though, so it's his fault that he has me say some of these things. And it's great, because he's the ultimate scapegoat. I'd be like, Jesus made me do it. I'm sorry, what? No, nothing? Anyway, I'm done. I don't have a reason for everyone to stand, so I'm kind of the oddball speaker, because everyone else got to stand and do something. So I was like, should we stand to a jumping jack? I don't know. So don't stand. Instead, as I said, kneel. You know, for the Lord. Kneel for other people. I guarantee you right now, tomorrow, when you wake up, if the Lord tarries and we got tomorrow, there's somebody that you can touch tomorrow. Somebody you can speak to. And it's going to be hard, because it's out of your comfort zone. It's out of your schedule. You didn't make time for it. But try it out. Make some time for God. See what happens.
Thank you, Jesse. Man, you're awesome. We were like, okay, so everyone's got 15 minutes to speak. And I'm like, well, I'll cut mine down by 5, and you can cut yours down by 10. You can cut yours down by 5, so Jesse can have the 45. Yeah. Good times. Good times. Okay, so, yeah. I hope this is clear what we're trying to do, and what God has called a group of us to do. And every one of you has one of these. Don't get awkward in front of them. They're beautiful, made by an amazing intern at head office in Ontario. I want you to open it up on the inside. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a bunch of intimidating words and numbers. I'm going to ask for three things. First and foremost, we need you guys praying for us. Even from the start, from the night that this vision was birthed on September 18th, 2013, we were under attack instantly. There is an enemy that does not want this to happen. And we need your prayer, and we need your support. I only have in this ministry 2 people actually dedicated pray for anything at any time. I need way more than that. This needs way more than that. So on that right-hand side, if you could write your name and just fill out that information, that would be fantastic. If you want to, and you can even write in there for prayer. And then we will update you, and we will show you the power of connecting, the power of people with prayer, because we need that. The second thing that I'm going to ask is, find it in your heart to give monthly on this. We want it's a huge vision, and we can't do it without partnership, and we want to partner. And that's exactly what this is. By you giving, you actually are stretching your hand to guys like Robin Williams, and you're stretching your hand to guys like Jesse talked to, because the guy that Jesse talked to at 3 o'clock in the morning is from the industry. You are literally saving lives. Literally saving lives. As we continue to grow and raise up leaders within this industry and other people, you support that. And so would you give monthly? I have a computer station in the very back. If you want to give online, you can fill it out here if you want. Visa, MasterCard, you can fill it out there. I will have a guy that comes around. We're going to do a 10-minute break afterwards where you can sit with your spouse or your guest and pray about this and discuss how much you want to give. But at the end of the day, we need 100 people at $100 a month to see this fulfilled. Anything will help, but I would definitely ask that you would just pray and write down a number and pray over that. The third thing would be this place and this venue. It costs some money to do. If you want to do a one-time donation, that'd be fantastic as well. You can fill that out as well. And again, someone will be around to get this for you as we take the 10-minute break. Also, I on your way out, and please, when we do the 10-minute break, don't leave. We're going to do a panel. If you have questions, please. That says my name. There it is. Text a question. We will also do an open mic if you want, and you can come up, or we'll come to you. We'll figure it out. If you have a question, just let us know, and we'll have a bunch of the industry people here, and we'll answer your questions, people on our team, and to help you understand exactly what we're doing. We don't want any fogginess in this. So that would be my request. So I am officially going to get, before you leave, we're going to give you a card, and that card is free download. I just recently wrote a book called Light and Film, Stories Behind the Glamour, and it's literally stories from around here in Vancouver, like Jesse's story that he told. There's about 7 or 8 stories in there that are very eye-opening to what's going on in our industry and our country. And just so you all know, Mark mentioned this, what we're doing here in Vancouver, we will do in Toronto and Montreal and anywhere else that the Lord leads us to. I have people in Edmonton and Kelowna right now that want this there. And they don't even have much of an entertainment industry there, but there's still one there. But they're in demand. They want it. This is going to spread like wildfire. Because people are the Lord's most importance. So please partner with us. Be generous. And any questions that we have full disclosure on budget, anything like that.
Okay, at this time, we are going to bring up the panel. Would the panel please come and take their seats?
Okay, look at these handsome fellers. Introduce. Okay, Jesse Hutch. You all know Jesse Hutch. Professional actor, director. This is Adrian. How do you say your last name? Hein? Hein. Adrian Hein. He's like I said, a Hollywood stunt actor from LA. Come on. Yeah, come on. Any big movie that you've ever saw with some action in it, he's in it, most likely. Mark Clark from The Village, amazing anointed speaker. Thank you. This is Jamie Atkins. He's a compositor in the film industry, so he did Ninja Turtles. So he did the computer graphics for the Ninja Turtles. Come on, somebody. And then my good friend Michael Vosser. Good friend, I don't know how to say his last name. I've only met him actually twice, so. Anyways, he's from City Church from Seattle, so he knows firsthand on the underground church in LA, as well as Adrian was just there last week or this week, Wednesday, and Justin Bieber manhandled his baby. Something like that. So if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand. If you text me, I will get to it. But if you haven't texted me, raise your hand if you have a question, and Josh will come to you. One question was, how much do you need to be launched? Jess, you can answer that one real quick, please. How much do I need to be launched? Do you know?
How much money do you need?
Yeah.
It's like $75,000.
Yeah, it's a little more than that, but yeah, it's close. Yeah, it's to get me commissioned out. I need 75%. Yeah, I need 75% to actually be commissioned out. Yeah, no, you're pretty close. Yeah, pretty close. Anyone see any hands going up? One was, are there any women besides spouses involved in leadership? I'll answer that one real quick. The answer is no, and that's been our... No. Just hold on. The answer is no. It's our number one. It's been our number one prayer. All our partners who get our email know it's on our list. Tish acts on our leadership team, and she serves as our administrative guru, if you will. So she's on board with this ministry, but she serves as administrative, and she's amazing at it. This question's from Mark Clark. Mark, how do you see culture withering itself into the church?
How do I see it what?
Withering into the church.
Withering itself into the church. I don't know if I totally understand that. In what way? Meaning how is culture influencing in a negative fashion the church? Or okay. Sure. I think we live in a scenario, especially in Canada, certainly probably a couple of generations ahead of the U.S., of a kind of post-Christian culture where Christendom's dead 50, 60 years ago. Canada was actually a very Christian country. And now it is very post-Christian. Post-Christian culture means that C.S. Lewis described the difference as, when you go to a culture that's never heard the gospel before, they receive it in a particular way. But if you go to a culture that's already heard the gospel and they're on the other side of the gospel, they receive it in a very different way. And so how do you re-evangelize a group of people or a nation? And I think what begins to happen is people begin to kind of become part of the church, but when you don't make clear the cost of discipleship and those kinds of things, then people begin to take a really kind of lax view on what actually being a Christian is. And so we kind of loosen definitions of, accepting Christ or following Jesus or repentance or sin or whatever. And then what begins to happen, what I've seen happen is that in our culture in Canada, the unchurched people are really asking, I think we've moved from asking evidential questions, meaning, does God exist and what does that look like, to moral questions. The majority of questions that Canadians ask and really hold the church accountable for are, what does the church say about this particular moral issue? Rather than, give me 3 proofs for the existence of God. So what I think the church needs to figure out is how we say, hey, these are the things that God, you're talking about walking in and going to people who don't believe in Jesus. You're going, here's the moral thing I'm going to live by. How do you do that? How do you do that in the tension of what Judah was talking about the grace? The Jesus tension is, hey, I'm not going to condemn you, but go and sin no more. So it doesn't stay with, I'm not going to condemn you. It's, oh, by the way, go and sin no more. But the order matters. It's not go and sin no more and then you get in. It's you're in and I don't condemn you. And now because this grace moment, go and sin no more. So there's this expectation. And I think what begins to happen when the withering is when we don't do both. We just leave it one or the other.
Thank you. This message, is for Adrian. What is it like to be on a big film? Is it hard to be yourself?
Growing up, I always kind of grew up in the church, and my parents, just kind of inheriting the idea of God exists, but I never really knew it myself. And so, the question, when I was 13, was God, show me you're real. I just want to be real, right? And I don't want to be putting on this fake show. I want to know that you're real. And when I was 14, he showed me he's real and just filled me with the Spirit and just had an encounter. And just being real was my big thing in anything. So I don't know. I hope that's not too vague. What was the question again? It was just what is it like being on a big film? And film, is it hard to be yourself? And it's hard to be myself. Being on a big film, I don't know. It's just more people, bigger action, bigger names. I don't know. I'm just, okay, done.
Sorry, guys. I love Adrian. One of the questions was, is there a prayer team for Light and Film? Yes, there is. We do that as a leadership team once a month to start. We will advertise that at later date in emails for other people to join. Here's a tough one. Okay. Jesse. I will. How do you answer someone in a good way that asks if you're a Christian and then asks your view on homosexuality? There's a lot more. Hold on. How do we get eye level with someone and rub shoulders with them doing or seeing ungodly things, sex, drugs, seeing movies that contain that, especially for guys trying to stay pure?
Kind of 2.5-parter. Mark touched a little bit on it. You can't expect to help or make a change in anyone if you don't have their heart. Think of parenting a 3-year-old or a toddler. If they don't feel that you actually care about them and instead you're more concerned about the rules, don't touch the glass, don't break that, then they're not going to listen to you. So you need to get people's heart before you can even make a difference, and I think that's why Christ wants your heart, so that you understand that. Then you can start to affect people. And so, yes, you may see sex, drugs, and rock and roll. My mom always raised me that these three things will always exist, and so far that remains true. And so sex, drugs, and rock and roll will always be around, and they'll always be present in people's lives. And you can't just jump to that and go, hey, stop this, don't do that, don't do this, if you're not even someone in their life that they would even want to listen to. And so, yeah, you got to be able to get into that city, see all the idols, not worship the idols yourself, and then genuinely love that person where they're at. And sometimes that does mean keeping your mouth shut. And other times it means telling them the way it is. And I think that you really need to be led by that. Like, I think there's some truth to if someone were to come up to me right now and I just met you tonight and you said, hey, I just want to let you know in your marriage that you're dropping the ball here and I think you should change it. Probably just going to punch you in the eye and say, cool, thanks for your opinion. I might not punch you, but metaphorically. What was the second part of that?
He answered it.
Or third?
Yeah, it's good. How many people are in the Vancouver film industry? Does any of you guys know that?
Hello, wonderful people. So as far as visual effects is concerned, since the tax subsidy situation in LA has happened in the last few years, a lot of the industries, visual effects industries, are coming up to Vancouver. It used to be called the Hollywood North, but now it's becoming a major player in the visual effects world. So, I mean, my company, the company that I work for, MPC, we have somewhere about 1,000 people working in the visual effects industry. So that's just the kind of scope. And then we've got DNEG coming up this way. We've got Sony coming up this way. So it's a big creative family.
Thank you. And then I heard once there was about 60,000 people in the Vancouver industry, and that's not including the other 60,000 that were in the industry that don't do it anymore because it's so up and down that they eventually get a new job because it's not stable, and they live miserable lives because they're not living their dream job. And there's about 500,000 across Canada that are, if you go on Statistics Canada, there's about 350,000 full-time people in the film industry, and including the whole entertainment spectrum, so not including music videos, and amongst other things, there's about 500,000 across Canada. City Church guy. Is there a need for Jesus in film? What have you seen?
Oh yeah, of course. There's a huge need, and I think what's just kind of amazing what's going on right now is I feel like it's becoming vogue or cool. People are taking notice that some of these films that are coming out that are faith-based are grossing a really significant income, and I think people are paying attention to that. And I know just some of the conversations that I've had with some various people in the industry, it's just everyone's taking notice of the faith and family and how well those films are doing. So, and you can see that the big blockbusters now, there's Exodus and Noah and some of these things, they're really taking off. So yeah, I think there's a huge need for it. And I think it's even cool to talk about in the industry. So. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you very much. How do you feel to watch culture you work to promote turn their backs on Jesus? Will what we do help?
I feel like, in a way, maybe they're asking, how can you work in something that we want to change, but yet we're part of a project that doesn't promote any of these things? I was just talking to someone about that. I've done a number of projects where you could sit down and watch that, and my grandma would be like, "It's blasphemy. Shut that off." And she knows that. I'm open about it. We go, "Hey, Grandma, this movie's got some of this in it. This guy's going to swear. I might even swear. You might hear me swearing." "What? I love you." So, that being said, you got to ask yourself, what's more important, the product or the people making the product? That's it.
And there's another thing too, like content's not everything, and a lot of times films are rated based off of how many swear words, how many f-bombs, how many like nudity, and they'll base the movie off, like they'll rate the movie based off content. But more importantly than that, I think, is worldview, and what's the perception, like what is the what is the portrayal of, like, what's the message that the story is portraying. And I don't think they really rate movies that way, and that's more important, I think, like theme and like what's it, because that's culture shaping, right? So
Just also like proactively, if you want to help, I think it's the moral dilemma that we all face. That we're in the industry of doing projects that that might be morally challenging. So, I mean, pray for us. Pray for that the conversation that you had with the, about standing up in your faith. That's really that really speaks home to me. So just pray for all of us. Like, it's a normal industry, but we have these kind of challenging moments where we have to stand up, do a Daniel, do a Joseph, and stand up. So yeah, please pray for us.
Thank you. I just got a question about people with really, really deep issues like drug abuse and sexual abuse and issues like this that actually need professional help. Is there a way of that happening? And this is a good question because we can only do so much until an actual professional is needed. But yes, we are currently. I just a couple weeks ago, a guy who specializes in alcohol abuse said, "Hey, I want on board," and he's a huge part of Recovery Church of CLA. And they went on board to be able to reach people to the next level in alcoholism and substance abuse. So we're not just trying to take on everything. We will delegate to these deeper issues that need professional help as long as they're willing, and that. So, what is the real heart, Michael, of the underground church? If you can explain and elaborate what actually is going on with the heart there.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think it's so simple. It's just relationship with Jesus, and how can we demonstrate that in a way that people are connected with Jesus, and that's it, kind of pure and simple. And it's really powerful. And what we're finding is that the more we get out of the way of that and just help people encounter Jesus, the easier it is. And I'm telling you, it is effortless for us, just kind of doing some things, just developing our own relationships, loving God and loving people, and things kind of happen on their own. But people know they're looking for realism. I mean, for a real relationship. That's what moves people, not religion or a set of rules. But when they see a relationship, they can't, they see you have an encounter, they can't, they want that really badly. So kind of things take care of themselves after that. But that's the heart of it, for sure.
Is there any other questions out there that Josh can come and ask if you want to ask? I'm getting asked, what does the plan look like to start this thing off, and what does the first 4 months look like? The reality is, or the next 4 months, the reality is that we have been going on for almost a year, but we're not really going on. We can't really go forward. We can only do so much until we're actually financially ready and able to be released. So yeah, I just want to thank every single one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. You guys mean the world to me, and you challenge me, you inspire me. Mark, every week it's like I get kicked in the face. Love it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. To have men in your life that, I got a guy in Invermere who wants me to ask you to pray for him because he's listening to your stuff online. He's doing a good thing in this city, and he'll do a good thing in Toronto and Montreal one day. You guys are powerful influences and lights in this industry. Jamie, you too. it starts with guys like you that are actually there right now. And it's not about, I got asked, like, is there people being witnessed on sets? Yes, I mean, I'm sure Jesse could share a story about that, but we're not going to, I want you guys to understand that we're not going around handing out tracts with, billion-dollar bills with actors' faces on them and then saying that that's persecution because you got fired for doing that. It's not what this is about. That's not at all what this is about. It's like what Michael said. This is about love. Strictly about love for the believers and the non-believers. So you guys aren't alone. If you're in this industry, you're not alone. Just know you're not alone. And then I just want to thank you guys. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, give them a hand.
So, folks, as we start to draw this night to a close, I think we should pray for Jamie and Mandy. And I think it would only honor the Father if we do that. So I'm going to ask Mike Pennington and his wife to come. And Mandy, why don't you come with us as well? And Thomas, are you here still? I can't see you, Thomas. And bring your wife as well. Oh, yeah, I can see you now. The bald head is reflecting the lights. This is my friend Kojak. I mean, for those that are old enough to know what that means. Sorry. Come on up here, folks. Let me just tell you something. It's difficult for someone to stand up and say, by the way, give me money for my idea. Okay? So let me tell you what's behind him and with them. We have a team of people that believe in them, that cover them, that pray for them, that hold them accountable. So the investment is in something that really will last. We don't want them to be a statistic of their own culture. So that's why we surrounded them with people that care, people that love, and people that hold them accountable. So I get the privilege to take people like Jamie right across the country that have dreams about impacting our Canadian context, and we actually get to release them through their dreams. And so I'm really thankful today that you are actually partnering with us to release them to their dream. So I'm going to ask you to just stand, and I want you to stretch out your hand towards them today. And I'm going to ask his pastor, Mike, come on up here, and I want you to just pray for this couple today. And this may be a little weird or strange, or maybe it's very foreign to you, but just, kind of as an act of blessing towards them, just kind of stretch your hands toward them. And let's just pray for them. Mike, why don't you lead them, okay? Would you do that?
God, we thank you so much for Jamie and for Mandy and their heart for the film industry. We've heard it tonight. We've heard the passion coming from Jamie. We've heard the passion coming from different people who have stood on this stage. That, God, you need to do something. And so, Lord, right now, we ask that you continue to meet the needs that come, the needs that are arising every day, Lord. The financial needs, meet the financial needs. It's nothing for you, God. You can make that happen overnight. Lord, meet the spiritual needs that come up. Lord, would you give wisdom as wisdom is needed to see the right way to interject your love into this industry. So, Jesus, we're calling on you. We're calling on you to do something powerful and to do it now. Lord, there's an urgency for the gospel, and Jamie and Mandy are ready to meet that need, and they're pulling a team together. God, I pray that that team continues to grow, and God, that you continue to bless them. We thank you for this night. In Jesus' name, everybody said, amen. Amen.
All right. So before you go, we're going to actually just get you to sit, and we'll have the person walk around. And if you are ready tonight to actually either give, we want you to give tonight. We'd love to launch them at the end of this day. We just say we're going to ready to launch them. So take the form. If you haven't filled it out yet, we're going to have an opportunity to actually have someone come around and pick up that information. If you want to give online, you can go to the back. So the guy that's actually going to take the money, make sure you give it to the right person. Right there in the back. He's waving both of his hands there. He's a legit guy. He's the guy that you're supposed to give your money to. So he's going to walk through and actually pick up the forms. And then if you want to give online, you can give online right in the back there. We've got some kiosks available for you to do that. I'm going to turn back to Jamie. Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate you, man.
All right, where's Josh? Where's Josh? There he is, way in the back. He's supposed to dismiss everyone, so I'll do it. Thank you. Enjoy, mingle, have fun, take some pictures, and eat more, because there's lots of food. Eat more. And then don't forget to pick up a little card on your way out that's got the free download of the book and the photos for tonight. If you want your photo, they'll be on our website. So all the information's on the card. So, and read that book, share that book. Thank you. Have a good night. God bless you all.